Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the rectangle tool and I'm just going to draw a shape. So I've got my nice red shape. If I wanted to change the color, I could do that in Object, Fill and Stroke. And if I wanted to change the shape of this rectangle, I could move my cursor right onto one of these corners and I could click and drag it and it would change the shape to whatever shape that I want, but it's still a rectangle. If I wanted to change this, change the sides a little bit so that it wasn't just four straight sides, I could go to Path and change this object, change the rectangle to a path that's more editable. So I could click on Object to Path, and then if I use the Node tool, just like we did when we were drawing that desert scene, I could click on the corner or on the middle of one of these sides, and I could click and I could drag it, and I could drag it however I want. So now I've got a nice curved shape. I could make the tops and bottom different shape too. And if I wanted to edit this a little bit more, if I wanted to be a little bit more precise with my shapes, I could click right on these corners and the handles come up that allow us to modify these curves even more. So I'm actually going to delete this shape and start with another shape. I'm going to start with a circle shape and I'm going to draw a circle, and it's actually an oval, and I'm going to try and make this look like a human face. So I need to edit this a little bit so that it looks more realistic. So I'm going to go to Path, Object to Path, and now if I click on the Node tool, I will be able to change this. So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit on the bottom and actually make it a little shorter on the top. I could change this based on the type of person. Everyone has a slightly different face shape. So I could change this a little bit here, make it even narrower at the bottom if I wanted to. And right now I think that looks pretty good. But obviously the skin color, red, is not a real skin color. So I'm going to go to Object, Fill and Stroke, and I'm going to find a more realistic skin color. So over here in the orange category, if I add a little bit of black into that, if I go towards the black corner of this triangle, I'm going to find a nice skin color in here. And let's see, I think this is a pretty good skin color right there. So I'm going to leave it, close this window, and now I need to add in the ears. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another circle shape, and I'm going to draw it in about the right spot. This is a little too high, so I'm going to click on the Select tool and move this down a little bit. Make sure that it's the right size. Once I've got everything right, I want to make a second ear. To make sure it's the same shape as this exactly, I'm going to duplicate this circle that I've already got. So I'm going to go to Edit and Duplicate, and that way I'll make a second one. You can't tell right now, but it's right on top of the other one. So with my Select tool, I'm going to click and drag this over to the other side. Try and get it in about the same position right on here. This looks pretty good. Might be a little high, so I'm going to move it down just a little bit. And now I think they're in the right position, but I've got this outline on the inside here. I could get rid of the outline, but an even better solution would be to merge all three of the shapes into just one shape. And the way I could do that is if I select all of them by clicking and dragging across all three shapes, I have a selection rectangle around all three different shapes. Another way I could do it is if I click on one and hold down the Shift button while I click on the other two shapes. That's another way that I could select all three of them. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Path and Union, and that's going to merge all three shapes into just one shape. And now that outline around the inside of those ears, that's disappeared because they're all just one shape. The selection is just around one shape here. So now I'm in a pretty good position. I'm going to make my head a little bit smaller and put that at the top of the page here.